I'm Sean Myers of the Westmoreland Sports Network, now joined by Tina Madison, the head coach of the Hempfield area Spartans softball team, as they enter the 6A bracket in the semifinals this upcoming week against Norwin. First off, Tina, I know it's been a little while since your team has been able to take the field for a real game. It's going to be about a 2-week layoff between the end of the regular season and your start of the playoffs. I would imagine that can't be easy. So, what have you and your players been doing over the last several days?
Yeah, lots of work. We've been practicing a lot. Under the radar, we had, Nishanik come out to Henfield. Not sure if many of you guys know that. We had an excellent game against them this past week. 0-0 through 7, and we ended up putting runners on, and we both left there after 9, 1-1. They have an excellent team as well. So I'm trying to get, top quality components to come into Hempfield and scrimmage and get ready. But just been, business as usual, getting ready for the playoffs.
I know that you have no control over it, but the fact that you go from playing 3, 4, sometimes 5 games a week during the regular season to having 2 weeks more or less idle, is that something you would like to see altered maybe in future years?
Yeah, I mean, we went 3 weeks in a row, Sean, with 4 games. 4 games, 4 games, 4 games. It was a lot. And then you have this massive lull of like 13 days where you don't play. I don't know how they can fix it because we live in Western Pennsylvania. A lot of the games get canceled early on, and then you have to play. And with the way 6A is set up, we have 16 section games to get in, so it's a lot. But yeah, it's trying to stay focused whenever this is not downtime, but not playing every day. It's very drastically different for the team.
Well, it seems like your team has been able to navigate it as well as anybody. You had a great regular season once again. Just one loss. It came against Seneca Valley, but you got the better of the Raiders when you played them the second time at home. And as a result, you got the number 1 seed, even though you and the Raiders were tied atop the section. Was that sort of what you were anticipating when the brackets came out?
I kind of figured it would go that way because of the last game we played Seneca. I figured they would go off the last game, but then I wasn't sure because Lexi didn't pitch, so it was like it could have went either way. We're excited. We're honored that all the hard work that they honored our girls, gave us the 1 seed, but in reality, it's really doesn't mean much of a difference. I mean, still got to play. So
Well, indeed, you still have to play, and we mentioned you will
yeah.
play against Norwin, a team that you're very familiar with. But before we look against the Knights, let's look at the regular season. What stood out about your team's effort in really kind of continuing the momentum that they built last year with that title run?
Yeah, I mean, we came out pretty on fire. There was one of those 3 weeks where we had 4 games. We scored 42 runs to 0. I think we're at like 111 now to 17 or something. I don't know what it is exactly. I'd have to look, but our offensive has been explosive and our defense has been lights out. So, I mean, we're playing good ball right now. Our pitching, Riley had a fantastic game this week against Nishanik. Towards the end of the stretch, she was really good. We're playing quality ball, defense, air free defense, and we're making things happen offensively as well. So we're playing good ball.
I'm not asking you to give your secrets away, but in the regular season, it was a lot of Riley pitching maybe 4, 5 innings, and then Julia Varhola coming in and closing games out. She also got some starts and was terrific in her own right. Will you change that approach in all likelihood now in the playoffs?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It just depends on the game and the situation. Theoretically, I'd love to get them both in, obviously, but it's just going to be dependent on kind of the score, the situation, who's on, things like that. So no, not necessarily the same approach, but not necessarily different. I don't know. It's a game time gut decision that I usually go with.
Well, it's nice to have 2 good options,
Oh
and
yeah.
I think on the other side, Norwin probably feels like they have a couple of pitching options as well. We've seen Abby Telly, but it was Brooklyn Conch who was terrific in their victory against Pine Richland in the quarterfinals. So, did you pay attention to that matchup in the 4-5, and what do you have to do to try to solve this riddle that Norwin brings to you?
Yeah, oh yeah. We were watching the game at practice. We had it on Game Changer. I let them watch the seventh inning. We, took a minute and watched it. I think we faced mostly Koch. They did bring Telly in a few times. Some of my big time hitters kind of struggled with her over the season. So we're preparing for her versus, not looking down the road at the next game. So we're doing a lot of, a lot of hitting drills, a lot of front toss. We're trying to break it down, slow it down to try to get our, 2, 3, 4 hitters back on track against her.
There's an adage that it's difficult to beat a team, especially a good team, 3 times in a season. So you knocked off the Knights twice. Do you feel as though you just stick with the exact same game plan, or do you anticipate having to change a little something here or there, knowing that it is the third time you see them?
I think, game plan will still be very similar. Our lineup will probably look different because I have 2 games worth of, data to go with on our hitters for her. But other than that, the lineup might nobody really new in the lineup, just maybe a little bit different of an order, a little bit different of a mix. We've had some girls that were really hitting well against her. I think Maggie Howard, I don't think she's batting 1,000 against her. So, Maggie will be at the top. Ella Berkebau was hitting really well against her. So that would be basically really the only change, Sean.
I know that since the end of last season, your team's mentality was you wanted to get back to that same opportunity and kind of finish the story here. To do that, you have to take care of business now in the WPIAL playoffs against some really good teams. So how do you keep that goal in mind without kind of losing focus of the immediate task at hand?
Yeah, we're really trying to go one game at a time, one pitch at a time, one play at a time. It gets really easy to look ahead because we have such success this season. But honestly, you saw there's been a lot of upsets within the playoffs, even this week. So you really can't do that. And I try to explain to the younger girls that like playoff softball is a little bit different of an atmosphere. Um, you know, the 3 games that are going to be at Gateway next Wednesday, a lot of hometown people. It's, with PT and Armstrong, us and Norwin, and then Latrobe and TJ, there's going to be a lot of people at Gateway. And, I try to explain that, that crowd, that atmosphere, that anything can really happen. I mean, last year we got down 5-0 early, I think in the first, second inning against Norwin. And, we can't take them lightly. They always play really good against us. And I think it's a pretty big rival. Yeah. So we're not looking ahead. We're looking at Norwin.
Lastly, what do you think makes this year's version of the Spartans special?
I really, really, really love our senior class. I have 5 girls right now who not only are they just outstanding softball players, but they are just outstanding people and very driven leaders, role models. They're just quality type of kids. They're still carrying equipment. They're still, they're just very good leaders and role models. And I think, well, I hope, but they're one of my favorite groups that ever come through here, and they're just special, and I think they make this team special.
Well, Tina, it's been a special season so far. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you can keep it up in the postseason.
Thank you,
It's
Sean.
Tina Madison, the head coach of the Hempfield area Spartans.